All right, we're in. We're at the MMI stage, and I'm going to bring in my co-host, Crystal. Where are you? Oh, you brought yourself in? All right, there you are. How are you, Crystal?
I am excellent. How are you doing, Mr. Tony?
Hey, it's a long air flight from our last event in Long Beach, right? Or no, we were in Dallas, Texas.
You're in Dallas. Now we're in Miami, right?
How exciting. I like this. This is like teleporting. It's pretty cool. And you can be in multiple places at one time. We're on
Right.
multiple stages. So I'm kind of liking this new Zoom technology. How about you?
I really, really am. And I'm liking the Best You Expo, right?
Yeah. Well, I didn't get to watch you because you were on a different stage in Texas. Now we get to work together for the next 3 days. How exciting.
Yeah, really exciting. Really, really great to be with you today and tomorrow and the next day and maybe
Absolutely. So we just did a nice introduction on the main stage, which is being televised all over. I mean, it's on Roku TV, Apple TV. I'm watching it currently right now. He's with David Fagan. So many great speakers here. There's a Spanish stage. There's all sorts of giveaways. We've got great speakers on the MMI stage, the Masters, Mentors, and Influencers stage. So I don't know if we're just going to kind of ebb and flow on introductions and we're just going to kind of feel it out as a little improv together. But how would you like to do it? Would you like to do the first introduction today, or would you like to co-introduce our first speaker?
Tony,
We're gonna have fun, aren't we?
going, it is ridiculous. And so I think we'll be fine. I think we'll do fine. I can certainly introduce the first speaker. She's been on, excuse me, we've been on Facebook going back and forth that she'll be on MMI today. So I'm just ready to go. And now Bernardo on the main stage gave some information about the giveaways. And so what I want to do right now too is just kind of welcome everyone to the Masters, Mentors, and Influencers. And I have right here in my hand, you can't really see it, but this is the printout of all of the giveaways.
Like
Tony.
$100,000 of giveaways, and not that it takes your whole life to get them. It's instant. I know. How much of those do we get?
On our pre-call, I was going to ask him, I'm like, okay, Bernardo, so do we get any of the $100,000 of the giveaway?
Well, we get the benefits of hosting and listening to all these wonderful speakers, so that's a gift.
Right.
So what are we getting? What are we giving away? I know we've got Lisa Nichols is giving away some amazing stuff.
Right, she is. And there's a number of different things that are high value. So we have where, ladies and gentlemen, everything is broken down into like platinum and gold and silver and all of these different kinds of levels. And so the very, very first level, actually, above all of that, is from the Best You Expo. Right. So they're giving away the Best You online membership, which is worth $15,900. And there's also, there's 100 of those. So there's also the audio version of Bernardo's best-selling book, The Question.
There's 1,000 of those, yes? And what's the value of that? I think it's about the same value, isn't it?
Right, because there's so many that are being given away. So, but when we get into the actual prizes themselves, I don't know if you also have the list there, but the first ones are worth $6,000, $5,000, $5,000 for coaching packages. And we're just going to kind of like run down the list of some of these.
Does your list have the new car that he's giving away?
No.
Or what about his motorcycle? Bernardo, you giving away your motorcycle? I'll take that.
Tony, be good, okay?
We're gonna have fun this weekend.
We're gonna have to like reel you in.
Yeah, I'm watching him on the main stage on TV. So, Bernardo, we love you, and this is so much fun. I really enjoy doing the Miami, and then we're going to London after this. You know that,
right?
And then Dubai. You going to Dubai with us?
Yeah.
All right, as you were saying.
Yeah, I was just going to kind of go through some of these. And so the platinum prizes, like I said, some of these are $6,000, $5,000. And it's Johnson and Pujol. They're giving away basically a mentoring coaching package, and they're giving away 2 of those. And so that's worth $6,000. And then Dr. Fab Machini, a one-on-one coaching for 1 month. 1 month. Oh my God. And that's worth $5,000. And now you've already mentioned Miss motivating the masses, Miss Motivating the Masses. And who is that, I wonder? Yeah, that's Lisa Nichols. And a one-on-one coaching for 1 month again.
No, I had the pleasure of meeting Lisa Nichols, and I met her when she was heavier, and she said she was going to lose weight. And my God, did she do what she said she was going to do using her program. And that woman is sharp. And she was sharp when she was a little bit heavier. She looked amazing. But you can see that she practices what she preaches. She comes to my church at Agape, and she's just an amazing, amazing motivational speaker. And her story is just, it's heartbreaking. It's the fact that she's giving away what she lives by.
Right.
I mean, she lives by this. So I would want that for sure. I know Bernardo wants it as well. So did you get your coffee? I know it's early for you and I. You're on Arizona time. I'm on Hollywood time.
I am. I have my green tea. So she's giving away, ladies and gentlemen, a one-on-one coaching for 1 month. It's Abundant Life, Ignite Your Speaking and Writing, and that's worth $5,000. And the list just goes on and on with a lot of amazing giveaways. And so
we'll be announcing that all through the whole all 3 days. As we get closer to the actual speaker that's giving something away, we'll share what they're giving away. But just know there's $100,000 value of giveaways. $100,000. I don't know what you would do with that, but I know what we're going to do with it. We're going to give it away. So that's what we're going to do. So Crystal, such a pleasure to co-host with you. As you will get to know, I do interrupt, but I do it because, first of all, I have ADD, and second of all, it kind of picks up the energy. So if I interrupt you, I apologize. I'm just very excited to be co-hosting with you.
There will be no need to pick up the energy with me. Let me tell you, Tony. So I'm going to just tell you that right now. No.
So as some of you guys can see, we've been on COVID. We're on Zoom, and I have not had a COVID haircut. This is all COVID hair. This came overnight. I don't know what my girlfriend's feeding me, but it's making my nails grow. It's making my hair grow. I had short hair on the expo when we were in person in Los Angeles. So, and that was only a couple years ago. So I don't know.
Well, I wanted to, I'm going to have to find it so I can show you that you've stolen my hat.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. Well, this is perfect for Miami, don't you think? I think this is very Miami. And I had to put the collar out for Miami, old school 70s Miami.
Yeah. So. Yeah. Let me see which one I'm going to show you here. But yeah, on my little emoji thing, I have on a blue suit with a white shirt, and I have on that hat.
Well, I expect tomorrow you to be wearing it.
No, it's just one of those little emoji things. But as we continue to talk here, ladies and gentlemen, there is a main stage, and then there's MMI, and there's also the Spanish speaking room. Okay.
Tomorrow, right?
Right. So masters, mentors, and influencers. Now, there's a lot of really great speakers that we have lined up every single day. And we also have some other things that you'll be seeing, related to some of the other speakers that have maybe come before with some of the commercials and things like that, of which you need to take notes even with those. So make sure you have your notebook, you have your pen, you have your computer, your iPad, whatever it is, so that you can catch these nuggets. Because I know
you're getting into the Best You TV, right? So you can watch all the reruns from all the past episodes of the live stages, the London stages, the virtual stages on the Best You TV. Now there's a Best You app. And I kind of feel that's where you're headed, right? To the different ways you can watch the shows live or on demand.
Right. And so even with this, the main stage, you can pull it up on Roku. And so it is the Best You, and you can just pull that up. And it's also Google Play and the Fire Stick with Amazon. And, there's a host of ways that you can watch this.
Right.
And Tony, you're going to be bouncing back and forth. I guess I am too, a little bit to the main.
Bernardo and David Fagan. And so we're all jumping around. There's a new program that I hear you're heavily involved with that I've been trying to get Bernardo to do since I met him. And that's the Best Youth TH. So
right.
What that is.
Well, what that is that, there are many people that when we think about our youth, sometimes people think about them being a burden or a distraction, as opposed to being essential and being necessary and being our next generation. And so what we wanted to do was to create a platform, to create a space within the Best You for them to come and share their inspiration. So it's not all about money. I mean, yes, I have statistics of, the 40 youngest millionaires. They're in that age range of between 8 and 20. Right. But But it's about influence. It's about impact. It's about what are you doing to make this world a better place? And Tony, there's a lot of children, youth, and young adults that are already doing that. So we really want them to come and share their inspiration.
Yeah,
And
my
this
schools,
this is
it's amazing global. That's the cool thing about Zoom. But even when we're in a physical form, it's still a global program. But yeah, I teach a lot of kids in that age group, and they're going to be very excited to be part of this. These kids are all influencers, which is basically celebrities, but we call influencers online. But they reach hundreds and hundreds of thousands, if not millions and millions of people. These people have a voice. And when they get on a platform like this, they can actually influence people, as this is the mentors and influencers, the masters, mentors, influencers. So it's really important that we encourage them and we help guide our youth, because there's a generation. We have a bunch of kids in this household. We have triplets and we have grandbabies and all sorts
of. Oh my gosh, triplets?
Yeah, triplets, baby. So, but they're 17 now, almost 18, and they have a voice of their own, a mind of their own, and they're getting their information from the internet. So we want to be a positive source of information and guide them from our experience. I'm 53 now. I've got a little bit of experience based on just my years on the planet, but we've seen
not as much experience as I do, I guess I'm about to say.
No, yes. I do not believe that. Don't believe it.
No. You said 53?
Yeah.
Look.
What? Teach me. Hey. I love it. Oh, that's exciting.
You need to respect your elders, Tony, during these next 3 days. Respect your elders.
Namaste. So, what I really wanted to remind us, everyone that's watching, is we've borrowed this and we need to give it back to our youth better than we used it. So if we used it up, let's replenish it and give it to the youth, because this is not ours. We're just borrowing it. So we've heard that many times, but I want to really hammer that home, that the best youth would like something that is in pristine order that they can work with to benefit the generation behind them and behind them and behind them. So just wanted to do a little bit of preaching there for you.
Yeah, and the stats show that 74.2 million people are below the age of 18.
What? Repeat that stat.
74.2 million people in the United States are below the age of 18. And so whether we think about the United States or whether we look at statistics related to the world, and I'll be talking more about this on main stage and giving some other numbers, but that's a lot of people.
Well, don't we have something like 7 billion people on the planet as a whole? That's almost
7.67.
There you go. So we're just a little bit under, just a little bit under 1/7 of the population, our youth.
Yeah. In the United States. But
and I'm sure it's like that across the globe too, if you think about it.
Yeah. So, but my point is that, ladies and gentlemen, you know, he's an old guy. Okay, I'm an old woman, and we need to.
We're fine wine. Don't open us.
We're preparing the way and paving the way, because pretty soon, you know, we'll be moved out of the way, and it'll be their world. So, I'm so extremely excited to be working with Bernardo on this. Really,
I love it. So let's build the road, and they can drive their cars on the road we're building.
Yeah.
Well, so what else is going on this weekend? I mean, there's so much going on. I know you have the notes there, and I have mine kind of memorized. Yeah, right, cell phone. But there's a lot of information Bernardo left for us to share all weekend long. So we'll be doing this all weekend long. But we wanted to hit the bullet points, because in about 15 minutes, we're going to bring on Jenna, our first speaker.
Right. And we've been bouncing back and forth on Facebook, and she's revving to go, ready to go, and transform the world this morning at 11. But
and we have a red carpet, right? Tomorrow, I think, in the middle of the day. So if you guys are watching and want to be part of this, you can actually be broadcast live on the show, get on Best U TV, and we're going to do a little red carpet for you guys. So anybody watching this can actually get on the show tomorrow. Just look at the schedule.
So what I want to mention is, you know, the multifaceted approach that Bernardo and the team have taken to the Best U. So we've talked a little bit about Best U TV. And so what is that? I want you to go ahead and give your take on that, and then I'll throw in my 2 cents.
Well, so there's 2 different versions of Best U TV, right? There's the on-demand, which is what we've already shot over the years, and that is on a rerun. You can watch it when you want. And then there's the live TV, which we're on today. Bernardo's on the main stage. He's actually live. I'm watching it currently with David Fagan and while I'm doing this. So if I get sidetracked, I'm just watching what they're doing. And then there's a chance for you to have your own TV show, your own TV series, or your one-off shows, or you can be on somebody else's show. So it's very well-rounded. But if you think of cable stations, if you think of NBC, or if you think of what NBC's on, whatever your cable provider is, Bernardo's shows are the providers for the NBCs, ABCs, and CBSs. And then in the ABC, CBSs, and NBCs, you have your own individual shows and series. So you could be in any part of that formula. You could be the big, the middle, the one-offs, or the guest or the actor, because we're doing recorded shows, scripted shows, non-scripted shows, documentaries. I mean, there's so many opportunities to get your message, your voice heard through the best you.
Right. And there's so many different packages that he has, and the team is just phenomenal with working with you, depending on what your circumstances, situations are, or what, basically whatever it is that you want to do, they'll find a way to make it work within what they have already set up. And the way Bernardo works too is if you have a fantastic idea that's not there, then they'll just create it. They'll just create it. And so for Best You TV, I'm really excited. He's talked about the founders. There's 5 or 6 or so, and they're adding on to those, all the time. And it'll be launching, and it's going to be really, really great. Really great.
Now, because you shared your age with me, you remember MTV, and when they launched MTV, and we would sit and watch a music video and just be mesmerized, almost hypnotized by watching a music video. But then it turned into talk. There was hosts, there was VJs. Then they're turned into going to spring break. Then they're turned into reality shows. Now take that style, that format, and add conscious television, add voices, empowerment, wealth building, add all of that type of topic and put it into that formula, and you've got the Best You TV in a nutshell.
Yeah. So what we are really just trying to have you understand is we're here at the Best You Expo. This is an expo, but there's so many other things behind the scenes that you can get involved in that can really, number one, it can give you more exposure. It can even be a way for you to monetize what you do. But the main thing for me is always impact. You can impact so many more people with this new platform. And plus they can just pull it up right on their TV. How great is that?
Exactly. And eventually we're going to be able to get a database search where you can Google it, or you can find different ways just to type in what you're looking for, and boom, your show pops right up because of the meta tags. Now you're speaking. When are you speaking?
I'm speaking on Sunday at noon. Noon Miami time.
And is that by yourself? And then you're also doing something, I think, with Bernardo, or do you have an interview with Bernardo?
That's later today.
Okay.
At 3 something.
Over on the main stage.
On the main stage to talk about the Best Youth Global. Yes.
Exactly. And that's televised. So you guys can watch that live on TV. So however you're getting this, the fact is we're getting it out everywhere. And you could be getting out everywhere as well with your message. So very exciting. We've got about, 12 minutes before we actually go to our first speaker. So is there anything we want to cover before we run to a commercial and then get our stage going over here, the MMI stage? In Miami, the Best You Miami. I'm very excited to be a co-host with Crystal. We're so excited.
Yeah, I think we should at least know what temperature or something that it is in Miami. Right?
We'll look that up during the commercial break. So
I've done LA and Miami, and I think there was one other one in there that I just can't.
Long Beach?
I can't remember, but Dallas. Right,
yeah, of course.
So there were people that came on to speak that were actually from Dallas, and so we just kind of like partied and revved it up. It's like, hey, Dallas in the house, Yeah. So let us know, speakers, if you're listening already, if you are actually from Miami or actually residing in Miami right now while you're on the expo. Let us know so we can beef you up and rev you up and hype you up.
I know the host is actually for the Spanish-speaking stage. She's from Mexico, so. Spanish speaking, it's going to be really solid. Now, I understand Spanish. I don't speak it very well, but I do understand it. So I'm actually going to be listening to the Spanish speakers to practice my Spanish and to get the information that they're sharing as well. So
Are you going to be here to co-host with me? You're on the main stage. You're doing Spanish. You're just
with you. Remember, the speakers speak for
the summit.
They speak for 45 minutes, so we got a little bit of downtime on that 45 minutes, and
No,
that's
we have to listen to our speakers, Tony.
I listen to it. Remember, I have it on live TV. I've got 3 shows going at one time: the television, the computer, and the cell phone. And I'm absorbing so much information. So I'm not missing anything.
This is Crystal Richardson. I am focused on you. This is like a campaign speech. I am focused on you. I don't know all the stuff that Tony is doing. Wait, I don't know all the stuff Tony's going to be doing, but I'm here for you. I'm focused on you here.
And I'm here for you as well. And I want you to know that the more information you get, the better you can share with your guests that are watching us today. So I feel that I'm well diversified, and we're going to have a lot of fun this weekend. If you guys don't watch just for us, I don't know what you're doing. Oh, such a pleasure, Crystal. Well, how would you like to throw it to a commercial break for 10 minutes and come back real sharp? And you can go to the green room and talk to our next speaker and get her all ready, and we can start this weekend off. All right, let's give it to our, we got a stage manager. We don't have to do our own stage control.
Are you sick and tired of struggling to get your career to where you want it to be? Working with the right coach can be a life-changing experience, and Bernardo Moya is changing lives all over the world. Learn how to create revenue streams, attract higher qualified clients consistently, market your brand, and promote your business to a global audience. Bernardo is one of the biggest names in the world of personal development. He is an entrepreneur, an author, a speaker, and a founder and chief inspirational officer of the Best You Corporation. Are you sick and tired of struggling to get your career to where you want it to be? Working with the right coach can be a life-changing experience, and Bernardo Moya is changing lives all over the world. Learn how to create revenue streams, attract higher qualified clients consistently, market your brand, and promote your business to a global audience. Bernardo is one of the biggest names in the world of personal development. He is an entrepreneur, an author, a speaker, and a founder and chief inspirational officer of the Best You Corporation. So fast-track your career now.
Someone just started or finished uni or just lost their job, mid-40s, what is the best advice you would give them to kind of move forward, reinvent themselves?
Boy, if you just lost your job, first off, you don't want to be in a worry state. Like in Dale Carnegie's book, How to Win Friends and Influence People and How to Stop Worrying and Start Living, 2 amazing books. What I would do is get yourself in a confident state and take action, okay? You can sit, what am I worrying about is the question. What am I worrying about? Because what keeps people from doing stuff and taking actions is they've lost their confidence. And 2 things that entrepreneurs really need to protect is they need to protect their confidence, because you just operate better in life in a state of confidence, and their gratitude, having gratitude for what it is you have. So if you've just lost your job and you're in a desperate situation, then you have to make yourself resourceful. And so there's resources readily available to you in the area that you already have expertise in, so you may need to immediately go back into that sort of skill set or position. If you know how to solve problems, there are like, what is a entrepreneur? You know, like the original definition of an entrepreneur, 1804, John Baptiste Say said, it was the first time they used the word entrepreneur in recorded history that we have documentation of, said an entrepreneur is an individual that takes resources from a lower level of productivity to a higher level. So start thinking like an entrepreneur. How do you solve problems for a profit? So you have a skill set, you can solve problems. Who has those problems that will pay you money to solve those things? If I lost my job and I had skills, I would go to someone and say, I will work for you for free for a week, for 2 weeks. Give me your #1 problem in this area that I know how to solve. If I can solve it, you pay me or you hire me. And secondly, I would just probably watch all the interviews that you've done, start studying people, because people like me and other people can hopefully kick your inspiration in the gear. And when you're in a motivated, inspiring state, you're going to go out there, kick ass and take names and ask for help. You know, call your friends. Say, Who's my genius network? Who can guide me and direct me to resources that are going to make my life better? A not to-do list is more important than a to-do list in many cases. So it's not what you say yes to, it's what you say no to, because everything you say yes to, you're saying no to something else. If you say yes to being on Facebook for 2 hours, you might be saying no to spending that time with your children. If you're going to say yes to watching TV, you're going to say no to, maybe exercise. And if you say yes to staying up late, surfing the internet or looking at porn online, you're saying no to sleeping. So that, there's a lot of stuff that people say yes to that isn't serving them, and they wonder why their life is not where they're at. And I'll tell you, it's not a choice at all, because sometimes these are compulsions, which is what addiction is. So yeah, I think what you're doing and what you're providing, people can learn so much just by absorbing the lessons that people are saying, but don't just hear them. You have to pick people that you resonate with, things that you hear, and instead of going shallow with it, go deep. And if there's anything I did, I went really deep with marketing, and I learned it, I applied it, I got a result, and it's changed my life, and it's changed the lives of tens of thousands of other people too.
The Best You TV, a TV channel with only the best business leaders and influencers ready to help you rise to the top. Available now on Roku, Amazon Fire, Apple TV, and Google Play. Learn and grow from in-depth interviews, documentaries, inspirational talks, and motivational masterclasses from the world's biggest thought leaders, speakers, teachers, authors, coaches, and highly successful business gurus. The Best You TV is now live.
Hey, I love it. We switched sides. I love it.
Yes, we did.
Hi, I'm Bernardo Moya, founder of The Best You. Are you a motivational speaker, an author, a therapist, a coach, or a business guru trying to raise your profile and reach a global audience? At The Best You, we've been building our brand for many years, helping those in the world of personal development get their message out there through the Best You Expos, the Best You magazine, and the Best You Online. And now we're looking to grow our community even more. We've recently launched the Best You TV.
The Best You is leading the way in the industry of personal and professional growth. Through our magazine, expos, e-learning, TV, club, and awards, The Best You's objective is to help people achieve their dreams, to do more, to be more, to live a life without limits. Join us if you believe in helping and inspiring others, in changing the world, in making it a more just and fair place through education and inspiration. Our goal, everyone, everywhere, now. If you are interested in making a difference, working, partnering, volunteering, supporting, or even licensing The Best You, let's talk. Let's work together and make the world a better place.
The Best You Online, featuring in-depth interviews, motivational talks, and inspiring masterclasses from the world's top experts, motivational speakers, business gurus, and thought leaders. Leaders and influencers from all over the world are here to share their knowledge and skills with you. With over 500 speakers, The Best You Online is a priceless mine of personal development wisdom, knowledge, and practical information to help you take charge of your life and take you, your business, and career beyond where you have always wanted to go. The Best You Online.
The well-being industry is worth $3 trillion. Hi, I'm Bernardo Moya. I'm the founder of The Best You, and I wanted to share with you my vision, my dream, the concept of the Best You. The Best You is a multi-platform global platform. Our first thing is the Best You Expo. Now, we've been doing this for the last 5 years, and over these last 5 years, we've had close to 70,000 people attend, and we promoted more than 700 speakers. Because we filmed every single event, we have more than 700 talks from world leaders, all in one library of content. The really exciting thing about the Best You is our growth strategy. Look, we're going to be running expos all over the world. We've done them now in London and California. We're exploring about running them in Miami. We're looking at running them in Canada, in Mexico. It's just the beginning. So this business model where we will license the Best You Expo will allow us to attract more and more speakers, to attract the biggest brands, to attract all the thinkers that will want to be involved, not only in the local, but in the international reach and approach that we have. This will provide us phenomenal revenue and so much content through all the talks and all the different partners that we will have around the world. And there's so many opportunities for people like yourself, for you to be able to get involved in the Best You now. Thank you so much.
Now, the Best You Personal and Professional Development Virtual Expos are happening globally in 2021. Whether you want to speak, exhibit, or attend, these are online events for all those passionate about living a better life, creating a better world, gaining greater mindfulness and meaning in these new times, and becoming the best version of themselves. Book your speaking slot, your virtual booth, and get tickets to attend now.
What is life? Your life isn't just about what you're doing now. Your life is the sum of every hope you ever had and everything you ever wanted to be.
Life is
about the situations you deal with, how you get to where you want to be, and how you become who you want to be.
Life is a collection
of moments and memories. Life is about being alive, feeling alive. Life is about dealing with whatever fate throws at you. Life is about staying on top when things are challenging. Life is about enjoying.
All right, I'm grabbing these controls. What do you think, Crystal? How are you doing?
Let's do this. Let's do this.
This is what we do. We go live and we do a wonderful show, and we've got lots of experience here. And so we flip sides, as we were saying earlier. We had a lot of great commercials that we actually wanted to play. So there's so much information that you guys are going to be getting from the Best You. But who's coming up next, Crystal? I see her in the green room, Jenna, right?
In the green room, but I want to once again welcome everyone from around the world to MMI, Masters, Mentors, and Influences, here at the Best You Expo in Miami, right? And so my name is Crystal Richardson, and this is our co-host, my co-host, Mr. Tony. And we have our first speaker coming up. She is ready. Let's go ahead and add. Hey, Miss Jenna.
Rodriguez, how are you? Welcome to the Best You Expo Miami virtually. This is 2021. How exciting. Yes. So I know you have a little bio on Jenna. You want to embarrass her a little bit with her own bio?
Well, it's not embarrassing. I'm a word person, and I really love your bio with some of the words that you have in here. So I want to just go ahead and read that. And we've been going back and forth a little bit on Facebook. You're just so hyped and excited. So yes. I'm happy to meet you here.
You too. Both of you. Hi, Tony. Hi, Crystal. Hi. Yeah, it's amazing.
So I'm going to give you guys more camera time. I'm going to jump off, and I want you guys to just really do her introduction, and then it's going to be all you, Jenna. So we'll see you in about an hour.
Okay. Awesome. Thanks, Tony.
Bye, guys. Have fun all weekend long. I'm excited.
Me too.
So where are you logging in from and calling in from, and where are you from?
Where am I sitting, right? Where am I standing? I'm calling in from the Los Angeles area, actually. I moved here a year and a half ago, and so I'm in the Redondo Beach suburb, and the sun is coming up, and I'm ready. So,
awesome.
Yeah, it's great.
Yeah, earlier time there than in Miami, that's for sure. So yeah, I love your bio. So you are an award-winning transformational mentor and emotional scientist for leaders, celebrity CEOs, and corporation team members. I love that. An emotional scientist.
Yeah.
Love it. Love it. And
Thank you.
created some methods, the ego tricks and some other methods that you've created in order to do this. And you're the host of the Brave Entrepreneur podcast. And so what days is that on?
We air a new episode every Monday, but it's, obviously it's evergreen. It's out there on iTunes and Amazon Music and all of the platforms, as well as my YouTube channel, because we do video and audio. So yeah, it's 5 years running. So it's powerful.
Excellent. And so it says that you help leaders get radically brave in their lives and in their business. I love radically brave.
Thank you.
Also crack open the nuances of the ego mind, which helps to keep us playing small. Yeah. Our mind helps us to play small.
When it's all in here.
Play big and be radically brave. So I love it. I love it. Well,
thank you.
What are you going to talk to us about today?
I'm going to bring in that emotional science that I'm so passionate about. Mm-hmm. And the topic is raise your profitable consciousness and master your emotions for success. So I'm going to be sharing the 3 Ps. Hopefully once we expand the screen, we can see all of that. And I'm really excited. I love this topic. And I just think it's really, and kind of that advanced level of, how do we win? How do we outsmart our ego and really stop the hijacking of our momentum? So yeah, I'm excited.
All right. Well, let's do some brave stuff, some radical stuff, and crack open a whole bunch of stuff. All right, Jenna?
Absolutely. I'm ready. I'm always ready for brave.
All right. Welcome.
Let's do it. Welcome, everyone. Thank you, Crystal and Tony again. And of course, for Bernardo, I so appreciate him for having me, being a part of this event. And I get to kick you off here in the MMI room. And sure enough, we are going to dive into this topic here as we just mentioned. And, with our limited time, I want to dive right in. So, you got my intro. You kind of have an idea of who I am, but I want to share with you really quickly why I speak Brave. Brave Masters is my company, and why I help people get radically brave is I truly believe that brave is not just like fearlessness and facing the unknown, although that's accurate. It's more about facing ourselves. It's about really looking inward and reflecting and self-reflection and introspection, and looking inward and going, what do I need to own? What do I need to clean up? What do I need to do about my reality? And when that is your conscious, deliberate commitment, then life can completely change. And, I'll tell you, my life has definitely come from a place of brave by survival. And now I believe I'm in a level of consciousness that I call brave by purpose. And, in the beginning of my life, it was riddled with, a divorce from my parents, and then very quickly moved into a domestic violence household. And it was really hard. There was a level of abuse and drug addiction and stuff like that in my house. And I moved out at 14, and that was my first really big brave by survival move. And then, I experienced things like bullying in my high school years. And so, there's just all these different adversities that I got to experience in the beginning of my time. However, in the back of my mind, there was always this moment where I was like, there's got to be a better way. And in my teen years, I started to commit to personal development and transformational work. And it took me years to really break some of the patterns, and I'm continuing to do that work. And I just say, adversity is not something we're not immune to adversity. Clearly, we all have our variation of that, but it is how we respond. It is how do we show up to that? And like I said, those first years, it was just survival. It was brave by survival. I was making, movements in my life and taking actions that were getting me out of situations and moving me out of hardship. And it took me time to really, start to thrive. However, as I moved into a level of brave by choice, I started to realize I had something to do with my reality. And I think if you're here, you definitely probably get that already, is that we have the power to shift that. And I just encourage people to raise their profitable consciousness to a level that's more about brave by purpose. And what that means to me now is that I'm doing things that are stretching me, that are moving me forward, pulling me forward, that is more about my calling and my purpose on this planet. And I believe that's really big right now, actually. If you can kind of block out all of the external noises going on and really look inward and go, why am I here? What am I supposed to learn from all of this? And how am I supposed to give it back to the world? I believe that's what raising your consciousness is all about. And so here we are. And what profitable consciousness means is I just believe that if you're going to raise your level of, whether it's success financially, of course, that profitable part, but it's also about the bottom line of your life. It's not just the numbers, right? It's not just the financial part by any means, but there's a lot of business owners and entrepreneurs here. There's a lot of, career-driven, high achieving people in front of us. And, it's like one thing to be profitable in one area of our life, but I want to see you be profitable in all areas of your life, that entire comprehensive well-being. And so profitable consciousness is a concept that I really kind of simplified that idea. And of course, she mentioned emotional scientist, right? All that means is I am like constantly looking at what makes us behave the way we behave. I'm always looking at like figuring it out, like what's the pattern? How is this happening? And so we want to increase our resilience. We want to increase our bounce back factor is another thing I talk a lot about. I'm like, it's one thing to get knocked down, but how fast do you bounce back? And I think when you really, look at yourself and look at the things that you have the power to change and the power to do about it, then your bounce back factor certainly starts to increase. You get there faster. And so today I want to dive into these three concepts here, 1, 2, and 3, and the 3 P's of profitable consciousness, and 1 being personal ownership, 2 being permission to resign, and 3 being pattern breaking. And so let's start. Number 1, I just honor you for number 1, showing up to this experience and like jumping into 2021 and investing in yourself. This event is an investment in yourself. It's about thinking bigger. It's about thinking differently. It's about elevating your focal point, right? It's like when you consume shows like this, it's like, I'm so excited. Bernardo was like, we're getting on TV now. And that's the kind of curation we need. We need to be consuming things that are uplifting, that are lifting us up and forward and moving us to the future. And that's my intention as well today, is I want to, elevate that consciousness. And so number 1, what is the first P of profitable consciousness? How are you going to start really gaining massive traction and momentum this year? And no matter what your goals are, no matter what you're trying to perform higher at. And number 1 for me is personal ownership. And so what does that mean? This is all about, and this is where my life really changed, right? I was, of course, struggling financially in my teens and 20s. And I was there, to be honest, there was actually a point where I was homeless. I was, jumping from couch to couch and I'm like, what's wrong with me? Right. It was that self-doubt. And that's not the right question, to be honest. And yet I still feel like that creeps in because our egoic mind was like, let's make something wrong here instead of make something right about the situation. And so owning my past, owning my present, owning my future results was number 1. And personal ownership is a practice. It's not something that, is necessarily going to come automatically. And when I started to own my stories and my circumstances and really started to look at what are my belief systems, why am I making the choices I'm making, and understanding where my patterns are, where my behaviors are certainly getting in my way and certainly moving me forward. And honestly, it was a very hard look. There has been plenty of times where I was like, it would be so much easier if I could just pull the covers over my head, go to a level of unconsciousness and just forget all the things I've learned. Right. And I bet you probably felt that way at some point too, where it's like, man, if I could just, forget everything I know, life would be easier. But that's not where the power is. It's certainly not where the magic is. And so, owning my story, owning my past and future, and ownership, just to clarify, is certainly not about blame. It's not about condoning someone else's behavior that's abusive, or certainly not, not something you would, you want to accept. It's about, wow, this is in my life for a reason, and all my choices up to this moment have brought me to this point, and it's time for me to take ownership of that, right? And when I come from ownership, I immediately turn on my personal power. And so another thing that I like to talk about is, on top of personal ownership, it's about obviously self-awareness and elevating that level of self-awareness. And, I talk about, as mentioned, I talk a lot about the egoic tricks that our mind makes. And I'm actually going to share a few of those with you. And I'm actually going to share with you a tool or an assessment that will allow you to see what your current patterns are. Because again, self-awareness and ownership is highly important for us to move forward. And if you're here today, I know you're committed to constantly growing, constantly looking at what else can I learn about myself so that I can be the best human that I can possibly be. And so I talk a lot about when we look at our lives, how do we start to take ownership? One, we got to take inventory of what's so, and I call it being in our fishbowl identity. At any given moment, our ego self has created an identity that is living in this, glass fishbowl. I mean, it's like we can see out of it, but we don't realize that we're bumping up against the glass, right? And so that identity becomes somewhat of an autopilot. And the first thing to do is to look at what is our current inventory. How are we living? Where are we living? What are we doing? What are we focused on? What kind of beliefs do we currently still have that we're holding on to? What stories are we living in? Everything that you see in your reality right now is an expression of the current fishbowl identity that you're living in. And so what I see, especially working with my private clients, is that we all want to get to the new fishbowl, and yet we're not identifying the distinction. And once we see that, wow, I'm living in this current fishbowl and I want to be in the new one, but I don't know how to get there. How do I break through that, right? And what's in the way, I call it collapsing the gap between where you want to be and where where you are. And that fishbowl identity's got to be melted, right? It's got to be dissolved. And what's in the middle is what I call the ego tricks and the attachments. The source of the ego tricks is attachment. So we're going to get into that in a minute, a little bit deeper. But once you know and you recognize, it's like, wow, my identity, my fishbowl identity that I've created, I generate every day, is it's really comfortable. It's really predictable. I know what it is, right? It's like, cause I'm in it. It's almost like we don't always see the water that the fish is swimming in, right? The fish doesn't know it's in water. And so when we bring that level of consciousness to our life, we start to see, oh, wow, this is what I've generated. This is what I've created. And I have something to do about it. And we want something so badly, right? We want that new goal. We want that success. We want that, that new house. We want that, new relationship, whatever it is. And that sits over there in that new fishbowl. And so what we have to do is we have to take that ownership, take the inventory of our fishbowl identity that we're currently in, identify the one we want, of course, and then do the work in between, right? We have to unpack what's in the way. And that leads me to my second point. So the second P is permission to resign. And I am giving you permission right now. Please do this for me. And what that means is when you're looking at that current fishbowl and it doesn't work anymore. It's not serving your new fishbowl by any means. It's not allowing you to move to that new identity that you want to create in order to be in a new reality. And so this is that part where you start to emotionally divorce and resign the things that no longer serve you, that are not aligned with your desired outcome, that are not aligned with your brave by purpose, right? Your purpose in life. And if we aren't conscious of what we are and where we are, and also what we need to let go of, the new goals and the new fishbowl eludes us. It literally sits on a shelf. And it's like, why am I not there? Why am I not achieve what I really want? And it takes brave people. This is why radical brave is so big for me, in order to own where you are and own the attachments that are keeping you in the current state that you're in and the current reality, and bravely look at that new fishbowl and go, what do I need to get uncomfortable about? What am I most fearful of? What's the worst that could happen when I jump out and make that leap of faith to be and become the person that's in that new fishbowl? So I hope this is resonating. It's like, when you identify and visualize that new fishbowl, it's going to require something more of you. It's going to require a different version of you. And I think that's the hardest part, is to shed our skin and let go of the things that we believe about ourselves, the things that even other people have projected upon us. And I definitely had this experience about 2 years ago. I call it my spiritual breakdown. I was a little bit spiritually bankrupt, let alone financially bankrupt at one point in my life. But spiritual bankruptcy occurred for me in that year. And it was November 2018. And I found myself at a very basically a rock bottom. I was burnt out. I was wearing the busy as a badge of honor. I was doing everything I thought that was, moving the dial, moving me forward, getting me success, right? And I'm a high achiever, yes, but I was also a control freak. So the need for control is an autopilot conversation. You may have heard this already, but it's like, when you're in that current fishbowl, that ego is absolutely going to do everything it can to protect you and keep you in it. Everything, at all costs. And that's what was happening for me, at all costs. And that's the truth. It was costing me my profitable consciousnmy It was costing me my well-being, and my externally, things weren't necessarily falling apart. My marriage was still, good. And my business was growing. However, at what cost? Right. And I was lost at that point in November. And what transpired was I shut off. And it was actually one of the most powerful things I did in order for me to see what I needed to see, and what permission I needed to give myself to resign the things that no longer worked. And so I kind of did it the hard way, and I'm like trying to give you the easier way, which is like, just identify where you are, identify where you want to be, do the work in between, but be willing to say, wow, this doesn't work anymore. And so what happened was I started to, honestly, I just started to surrender. I started meditating like I've never done before. And a lot of high achieving, successful people do so. And I was like, I don't have time. That's crazy talk, right? Except it was the most transformative action I ever took. And I still implement that strategy, right, on a daily basis. And so when I started doing that, and I did it consistently, month and day after day, month after month, and I started to hear that higher self. I started to hear my truth, and the ego got quiet. Right? Because before, it was just running me ragged. It was like, keep going. I got to do this. Nobody else is going to do it. I have to do it all by myself. Right? So that was one thing I had to let go of. I was like, wow, do I really have to do this by myself? And so the short story is, within about a month or two of that kind of breakdown moment, I heard things like, wow, I'm not meant to be in this business relationship anymore, like this partnership that I had been signed on to. I heard I was supposed to move across the country. The only reason I'm in LA is because of that moment. I'm from Texas, and I love Texas, still do. But I wanted, my husband and I, we wanted, new energy, new possibility. And I wanted to live by the ocean. That was certainly one of my happy places. And so there was just all of this shift that started to show up. And it's like, wow, can I be brave enough to move my family across the country? Like, can we do that? Wow, can I be brave enough to communicate that this partnership is no longer aligned with who I'm becoming? Or, is this, even friendships shifted, all of these things. And a lot of it was internal, like let go of that belief that I have to do it on my own. Let go of the belief that, I'm the only one that's going to, make anything happen. What about trusting Gus, as I call it, God, universe, source? What about that? Where'd that go? Right? Where did my spirituality go? And my faith? Right? My belief in something bigger than myself and trusting something other than my two hands. And it completely changed my life to say the least. Certainly 6 months later, I moved. And, I did close, say goodbye to the business relationship, as far as the partnership goes. And some other things changed, for sure. And it was a lot of emotional divorce. So when I talk about emotional science, I'm constantly researching. I'm constantly looking at what am I going through? What do I need to emotionally heal? And what do I need to pull up, look at, and let go of, right? So permission to resign is a huge step in the right direction. And it's really where the brave starts, because the current fishbowl identity, super comfortable. I love it here. I don't want to leave. It's safe. It feels safe. It's the illusion of safety. I feel like I'm in control. I got this, right? I can manage this because I'm familiar with it. And yet everything I want is outside of it. It's in the other fishbowl identity. And so here's some exercises for you. I'm very practical, simplify this. Later today, after you've watched all these amazing presentations, make sure that you take inventory of where you are and just brain dump, just bullet it, bullet. And then look at, okay, who do I want to become? What fishbowl do I want to aim for? What am I trying to create? And when we take a very honest look, then we have to be brave enough to go, wow, I may have to let go of some relationships, some partnerships, business ideas, beliefs, things that we are absolutely attached to. And, I started to see in that year that I started to divorce everything that didn't work, is that attachment is the source of all struggle. Write that one down. Attachment is the source of all struggle. And then our egos find value in that struggle. Our egoic self is like, I got this. I can win here. If you struggle some more, I can protect you. If you struggle some more, I can take over, right? And then we just spin. We just sit on the merry-go-round and we never get to where we really want to go. So when we realize that attachments are the part that actually keeps us anchored to the things that don't work, to the things that are not serving us anymore, and some things might feel really good and they're just not moving the dial. It's not moving us to the goal that we have. And so those are the exercises I recommend at this moment, is to look at what's my fishbowl identity that I'm currently in, and then the new fishbowl identity I want to create. Because at any given second, any given moment, our egos are just shifting that fishbowl identity. And we're living inside of that bubble and that glass shell, and we have to dissolve that shell and keep moving it forward, keep expanding it. And the truth is, it's an illusion of the ego. And however, it is that construct, it is that container that we put ourselves in. And so that's a brave exercise that you can take from this right away. Then the third thing, I love this conversation here. This is where we talk about some of the ego tricks. So the third step is pattern breaking, right? So now we've identified, okay, I need to let go of this belief. I need to let go of this relationship, this idea, etc. It's not leading me to where I want to be, and it's not who I'm becoming. And however, it's kind of like, what's in the middle? What is keeping me in, keeping me away from the new identity, as well as stuck in place. And what I like to share with you is what I call ego tricks, right? The ego tricks are the signals that I have an attachment. That's basically what I call it, right? If I have an ego trick going on, I have an attachment underneath it, and you got to get to the source of that ego trick. And the other thing I created for everyone was I started to realize, again, patterns in myself and in others. And I saw how all the ego tricks kind of fall under 4 egoic archetypes. And this is my gift to you today. I actually wrote it up here, bravemasters.com/quiz. So you can take a very quick 6-question assessment and find out which egoic archetype are you, predominantly using. We use them all at some level. However, you want to find out which one am I leaning on right now. And sometimes as our focus changes, it's like, wow, this year I really want to create that special relationship. I want to create, my personal life. I want to empower my personal life this year. I want to get my health back, things like that. We might lean into a particular egoic archetype. And then when we're in our professional career, there's a different relatedness, and we might use a different egoic archetype there and all the ego tricks within. And so it's a way to simplify this conversation. And I'll tell you, it's when I realized what power this archetype, this kind of assessment would bring to people. Over, thousands of people have already taken it, and I can see. I have a pie chart. Of course, I can see where people land, and it's so interesting because the moment you understand you and your behavior, and then you can recognize, wow, other people have this going on too. And I could see what kind of the numbers showed. It was really telling. And it was like, it almost helped me see, or not almost, it certainly added value to me where I could go, well, maybe they're this archetype, right? Maybe their behavior is tied to this archetype. And I need to have a little more understanding and compassion for that, because we get so stuck in who we are and how we behave and what we do and what we expect of others. And it's like, well, what about them? They have egos too, right? So it's huge in interpersonal relationships, understanding what's going on in the world and even collectively. There is a lot of ego going on, right? And the truth is, it's always happening. It's always happening at some level. But the more conscious we are, and that is my mission, is to raise the level of consciousness on this planet. And if I can raise your profitable consciousness and help you emotionally succeed, right, increasing that emotional IQ, then we all win, right? We all win. And so I want to share with you a couple of number one, I'll tell you what the archetypes are, and then a few of the ego tricks within. Number one, what you'll find out on the assessment is you're either the rebel, the illusionist, the martyr, or the realist. And in those names, you don't have to put a whole lot of meaning around them. They're just identifiers, right? It's not a bad thing to be a rebel. It's not a bad thing to be an illusionist. Nothing's bad, right? And remember that there's definitions of words, but then we all give it meaning. And I believe that's also part of the strife that occurs, is so much of our interpretation of what we think other people mean based on the word they said. That's where we get into assumptions and disagreements and misunderstandings. So don't make any meaning to the word. However, just find out what's the concept about and who am I behaving as, right? So those are the 4 egoic archetypes. And I just, like I said, want to cover a few of the ego tricks within. And one of them is the shoulds. The shoulds, like we could sing it from the rooftop. This ego trick actually falls under the martyr. And if you find yourself, I should do this, I should be doing that, I should do this for this person, I should show up at this, it's going to make them feel bad if I don't, right? It's a lot of, and there's a positive spin to shoulds. Remember, meaning, there's a positive spin to shoulds. Like, I should do this to be in my new fishbowl. I should write the book. I should build my business. I should, those kind of exciting, shoulds. But there's also a very clear egoic should as well. And, and that looks like obligation. It looks like disalignment with who we are and what we really want. When you hear yourself shoulding, right, then you want to look in and you want to ask yourself, okay, why am I saying that? Am I trying to do something I don't really want to do? Bottom line, I just don't want to do it. Or it's not right for me. It may be right for them, but it's not right for me. Right. And I think, we tend to always kind of get off the rails and get off, the alignment that we need in order to be in that new fishbowl by shoulding, because we keep saying yes to things that we shouldn't say yes to because it's not right for us. And I'm giving you permission today to focus on the things that are right for you. And so if you hear yourself say should, simply a signal, and then you get to look at what's the attachment underneath. I'm actually, if you take the quiz, just so you know, once you take the quiz, click the link, you'll get a free video training tutorial on it. And right below that is the download of all 14 ego tricks and their meanings, right? The definitions. So just wanted you to know that all that stuff is there available for you. Okay, number 2, the second one I want to mention is the when then. I think this one's very powerful. It does make a huge difference in the momentum that we create in our life. And basically all it means is you stop yourself from moving forward in certain circumstances, when you say, when this happens, then I will do that. Or when I have enough money, then I'll invest in myself. When I lose 50 pounds, then I'll be happy, right? I mean, it's like autopilot. And that falls under the realist. It's very practical, right? It's like, well, it makes sense. It makes sense. It's common sense. When this happens, then I can do that. And that stops us in our tracks. So I'm going to give you an example. Last year, like I said, we made the decision to move to LA and we had to sell our house. So the decision was made in February. The house was on the market in March. My daughter was finishing school, junior high school. And I knew that, so we planned to move in the summer so she could finish her school. And, and I was like, if it sells before then, we'll have to figure it out. But it didn't. It reached this point where, every conversation I had with a neighbor or a friend or whoever, and they were going, when are you going to move? When are you moving? When are you moving? And my answer was like, well, when we sell the house, then we'll move. And when we sell, and every time I said it, and I mean, as I said it more and more and more, I started to feel the heaviness. I was like, I feel so trapped by that. I feel so blocked. I feel like there's no power. I have to wait for someone else to buy this house in order to do what I know I'm supposed to do. And then literally June 8th, I think it was the beginning of June. And I heard myself for like the 20th time say it one more time. A neighbor, and they asked me multiple times, when are you moving? And I was like, when the house sells, then we move. And I just said it one more time. And I was like, why am I saying that? I'm blocking myself. I'm blocking the flow of possibility. And I was talking to a friend about it. And he said, why do you have to wait till it sells? Right. And I was like, oh my gosh, that's the when then. That's what's blocking me from moving forward. In that moment, I got my brave on and I said, we're moving regardless of when the house sells. The house will sell, but it's just not in maybe my timeline, which we get attached to. Right? We get attached to the outcome. We get attached to when. And so ultimately we picked a date. That was the brave move. I knew we needed to get to California before high school started, and the clock was ticking. And I was like, I'm waiting on someone else to determine my movement forward and my action forward. And so we decided July 8th, we would drive out of there regardless of what happened with the house. Because even if it's empty, we can still sell it, right? So sure enough, we made that decision. We moved, and I realized what's the attachment under when then was I didn't think, oh, I need the money from the house in order to, make the move. And I was like, is that really true? And it wasn't. We figured it out regardless, and we were okay regardless. But that's the way the ego plays you. And Daryl, 100% don't be attached to the outcome, please. And so the when then is another very easy ego trick to recognize is when it's conditional, right? When you're creating conditions around moving towards your new fishbowl identity. Number 3. Is requirements. This one's really big for me because I'm a realist. That's my predominant ego trick. And a lot of people are. There's the numbers show it. And so this means that I am stuck on my requirement, meaning I have to have it a particular way before I will take action. This is how it is. This is what's so, it's almost like there's no other story. There's no other way to look at it. And expectations really play out in this ego trick is, the requirement of I have to have this in order to be okay. I have to have this in order to have what I want or have it turn out the way I want. So requirement is another big one that I see go on, and it's so subtle. And again, like Crystal shared in my bio, I'm always looking for the nuance, right? It's like that tiny, it's almost like the words and the meaning below the words we're saying to ourselves. And this is one that gets really tricky because it sounds really pragmatic. It seems very right, right? Yet it stops our flow. It completely shuts down the floodgates, and we're trying to move in the right direction, right? So the requirements is another one. Okay, number 4, I'm going to give you 2 more to play with. Number 4 is fear. The 4th ego trick that I want to share today. Fear, pretty simple, right? We have fear. Now, it can mask itself and look like concern, worry. I'm not sure how this is going to turn out. I don't know if this is, if you hear yourself, I don't know, or like, I'm not sure, or I'm afraid this is, not going to turn out the way I want. Any of those are subtle levels of fear. Now, of course, you can have the full blown out, I'm terrified for my life, right? Or we just typically operate at this low level of worry and stress. And anxiety starts to show up because we're just worried about things and we don't know how things are going to turn out. And the egoic self is constantly looking for certainty. And that's why it holds us in the fishbowl that we're in, is that certainty. And so if we're in fear, which is the illusionist, it's part of the illusionist archetype, and it's just our go-to. And this one is, I've certainly been in this archetype as well. And I see certain areas of my life that I worry most about. And that's one thing to consider, is maybe you have an archetype in relation to the area of life, whether it's financial or relationship. Right. I've been burned before. I don't want to get committed in a relationship again, or, financially. Like for me, I came from a very hardship financial upbringing, and I had to file bankruptcy in my first business 15 years ago. And so fear kind of shows up there unless I am conscious and aware. And so relationship, not so much. Right? Which is good. 20 years in marriage, pretty good, right? So fear is a big one, and especially with, a lot of adversity going on in the world, we've got this underbelly fear going on, and we really got to bring it to the surface and go, what is this really about? What is the attachment that I have around that? And then the 5th one I want to share as we close out here is anger or frustration. Thanks, Daryl. Anger and frustration is, it's the rebel, right? And it's a little more expressive, right? Clearly, sometimes when you can feel it, you can feel like, you snap at someone, or you literally get angry, right? And it's like you say some harsh words, or you judge people, and you say things that you really wouldn't want to say, if you were in your higher self. And so if you're angry, frustrated, annoyed, irritated, those are all the same thing. Rage is the ultimate, right? There's all levels of extremes, and it's kind of a scale of things. And I just want you to take inventory of that as well. It's like, which one do I use to cope? Which one do I use when I'm uncomfortable? Which one do I use when I'm not getting my way, or the outcome isn't happening fast enough? And so when you start to understand your patterns, when you understand the egoic archetype that you are behaving in, and remember, behavior is editable. And in order to edit, you got to do the inner work. And I'm just giving you a tool to make that easy. And hello, Tony. All right. So we're wrapping up.
We didn't want to cut you off. We wanted to make sure we got your full presentation in.
That was it. That was the end.
A very stringent timeline. So it was the perfect timing.
Yeah.
Edible. I heard edible, but you said editable. And I'm like,
editable.
I heard food and coffee. So, Crystal, what did you think of that? That was amazing.
Were you guys listening?
I think I have a full page of notes over here. No lie.
Right.
Awesome. This was excellent. It was excellent.
Where can we see more of you on your social media sites? Give the viewers a place to go check you out.
Yeah, for sure. So that was my last statement. So definitely the quiz, right? Go to my website. You can take the quiz. You'll learn more of me and of the information. And of course, my social media is Jenna Rodriguez. So find me all over.
Bravemasters.com.
Yes. Yep. Bravemasters.com/quiz.
Okay.
Yeah. Let me know what you get.
You're going to stick around all weekend and watch some of the other speakers on all the different stages, or check out our red carpet tomorrow. There's so much going on here at the Miami Best You Expo 2021. It's virtual. Very excited to travel the world with all of you guys. Crystal, you want to add anything before we go to Les Brown? We've got a great little presentation Les Brown's going to share with us, Jenna.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I just wanted to say again, thank you so much for that. We have a lot of similar, I guess, word patterns, which means thought patterns and everything. So
Sure.
We'll be in touch. We'll be in touch.
I would love that. I know we keep crossing paths, so we need to connect further.
All right.
Thanks,
Well,
Crystal.
we're going to throw it over to our stage director, and he's going to throw a commercial and maybe right to Les Brown. We'll see what he has for you guys. You guys are watching The Best You, Miami.
Thanks, everyone.
Bye-bye. All right, here we go.
Hi, I'm Bernardo Moya, founder of The Best You. Are you a motivational speaker, an author, a therapist, a coach, or a business guru trying to raise your profile and reach a global audience? At The Best You, we've been building our brand for many years, helping those in the world of personal development get their message out there through The Best You Expos, The Best You Magazine, and The Best You Online. And now we're looking to grow our community even more. We've recently launched The Best You TV, available on Roku, Amazon Fire, Apple TV, and Google Play. So now by partnering with us, you can get your show on The Best You TV, you can contribute to The Best You Magazine, add your courses to The Best You Online, and join us at one of the Best You virtual expos happening around the world. Expand your brand and join a growing community that believes that everyone deserves a life without limits.
Now, the Best You Personal and Professional Development Virtual Expos are happening globally in 2021. If you are a coach, a motivational speaker, a therapist, and are looking to transform your business, build a community, and generate customers from a global audience, this is the opportunity for you. Now is your chance to join forces with The Best You, one of the largest personal development brands on the planet. Book your speaking slot, your virtual.
Ahora, las exposiciones virtuales de desarrollo personal y profesional de Best You se llevarán a cabo a nivel mundial en 2020 y 2021. Si eres un coach, un orador motivacional, un terapeuta y buscas transformar tu negocio, construir una comunidad, generar clientes de una audiencia global, esta es la oportunidad para ti. Ahora, es tu oportunidad de unir fuerzas con The Best You, una de las marcas de desarrollo personal más grandes del planeta. Reserva tu espacio para hablar, tu stand virtual y boletos o tickets para asistir ahora. You got to look at yourself as a brand. A lot of people don't necessarily do that. And in order to stand out, you need to be different. Don't be a copycat. There's a lot of people doing the same kind of things and copying a lot of other people. What you need to start doing is you need to start positioning yourself as a unique individual with unique expertise. There's a lot of people that want to make a difference, but they're not following their own messages. They're not following whatever it is that they preach. So I highly recommend that you walk your talk. You don't copy other people. You take yourself seriously. You take your brand seriously, but you also look at opportunities to either partner with people or find the platforms where you can speak. The platforms where you're going to have hundreds or thousands of people attending, and that's the best way for you to start connecting and meeting and working with individuals. It's the best, it's the easiest way, and it can happen very, very quickly.
Now, the Best You Personal and Professional Development Virtual Expos are happening globally in 2021. Whether you want to speak, exhibit, or attend, these are online events for all those passionate about living a better life, creating a better world, gaining greater mindfulness and meaning in these new times, and becoming the best version of themselves. Book your speaking slot, your virtual booth, and get tickets to attend now. Are you sick and tired of struggling to get your career to where you want it to be? Working with the right coach can be a life-changing experience, and Bernardo Moya is changing lives all over the world. Learn how to create revenue streams, attract higher qualified clients consistently, market your brand, and promote your business to a global audience. Bernardo is one of the biggest names in the world of personal development. He is an entrepreneur, an author, a speaker, and a founder and chief inspirational officer of the Best You Corporation. So fast-track your career now.
My approach when it comes down to life really is about the holistic approach. And the holistic means is that everything that you do is important for you to become who you need to become. It starts with becoming aware of your thoughts. It starts surrounding yourself with the right people, focusing on the things that are important, building relationships, love. It's all important. It's all part of the process of growing. Life's too short. And if you don't really focus on where you're going and where you want to do and who you want to become, what's going to happen is eventually one day you will regret it. One of the most important questions I ask in the book, my book, the question is, what are you here for? What is your purpose? And we're all here for a reason. You need to understand what that reason is, and you need to start working towards it now.
The Best You is leading the way in the industry of personal and professional growth. Through our magazine, expos, e-learning, TV, club, and awards, the Best You's objective is to help people achieve their dreams, to do more, to be more, to live a life without limits. Join us if you believe in helping and inspiring others, in changing the world, in making it a more just and fair place through education and inspiration. Our goal, everyone, everywhere, now. If you are interested in making a difference, working, partnering, volunteering, supporting, or even licensing the Best You, let's talk. Let's work together and make the world a better place.
Now, the Best You Personal and Professional Development Virtual Expos are happening globally in 2020 and 2021. If you are a coach, a motivational speaker, a therapist, and are looking to transform your business, build a community, and generate customers from a global audience, this is the opportunity for you. Now is your chance to join forces with the Best You, one of the largest personal development brands on the planet. Book your speaking slot, your virtual booth, and get tickets to attend now.
Tell me about your early years. What was
Well,
it
I
like?
grew up in a very middle-class home. We lived between my mother's beauty shop and my dad's car lot. He was career Navy, and they never talked to me about school. I just was driven. So I was in fact, I said, if we can bottle what you did with me as a kid, I'd like to become a billionaire. But I was the proverbial straight-A student, so very popular at test time. And so their dream was that I would get a college education because I was the first generation to go to college, my sister and I. So the day I graduated was the only day I ever saw my dad emotional. And it was pretty special. And they wanted me to get the great career, so I went to Atlanta, Georgia, and started as a CPA, certified public accountant, and was rising very quickly in the ranks. And at the ripe old age of 25, remember at 25 when we know everything? We're authorities on everything, right? I said, if I'm going to work this hard, I should work for myself, not someone else. And about that time, I got the call inviting me to join one of my clients in a company. And I went off to start my entrepreneurial career. That was when at 25.
25. So you just raced along.
Yes, it was the worst mistake of my life. It was the worst business
But tell
decision.
me a little bit about it. Your teachers. Did you have, I mean, you were an A student, but Was school easy? School was easy for you, but did anyone inspire you? Any teachers in particular that stood out, that helped you?
My 8th grade English teacher, Mrs. Bosch, told me that I was going to be on stage and a great writer. Now, I was into math, so I kind of, forgot what she said until years later. But, and then in high school, several teachers, and it was really college, my sorority house mother said, "You need to be on stage." And I said, no, because being a celebrity and being on stage was never on my bucket list. I just wanted to support and help people.
Well, it's so important having teachers telling you or giving you the right messages in the early years, because in many cases it's the contrary, isn't it? You want to
I was always the teacher's pet, What can I say? But for me, it was always driving to be better and to give back and to do better and to help others alongside me, and particularly at test time. But it was really for me dedicated to making a difference. When I was a little girl, my father would ask me every night at bedtime, "Have you added value to someone's life today?" And that motto has, I've lost him 10 years ago, but I still ask myself that at night, have I added value to someone's life today?
That's a great question to ask yourself, absolutely. So at the age of 25, you became an entrepreneur.
I did. Went racing off. Worst business decision. Within a few weeks, I realized there was all kinds of corruption in this company. And I asked, how many of you have made business decisions that were bad, right? A few of you might raise your hand. Those of you at home, raise your hand. And but Napoleon Hill, author of Think and Grow Rich, says, out of every adversity, every failure comes a seed of an equal or greater benefit. And that's when I met Michael Lecter, my husband of 36 years. So I got a great life lesson and a great benefit out of the worst business decision of my life.
Absolutely.
And the rest is kind of history. So.
The Best You Online. Featuring in-depth interviews, motivational talks, and inspiring masterclasses from the world's top experts, motivational speakers, business gurus, and thought leaders. Leaders and influencers from all over the world are here to share their knowledge and skills with you. With over 500 speakers, The Best You Online is a priceless mine of personal development wisdom, knowledge, and practical information to help you take charge of your life and take you, your business, and career beyond where you always wanted.
All right, we're back. How you doing?
I was just kind of gigging to the best music,
You're going to dream those in your sleep. So we've got a wonderful guest coming up. We're just waiting for her in the green room here. And then you and I are going to talk a little bit about what's coming up the rest of the weekend. So I know that I'm going to introduce her, but what else is coming up this weekend on this stage, the Spanish stage, the main stage, the red carpet? Where can they get on TV? Let's see what we can, out of your memory. I'm going to test you. How much do you remember? There's so much to offer.
You are so hilarious. I just want to say that, ladies and gentlemen. Tony is hilarious. Welcome to the Best You Miami, where it is a balmy 73 degrees here in Miami. Woo, woo, woo. And, so what Tony's talking about are all the different opportunities that you have to be a part of the Best You. So we are obviously here on the expo, and there'll continue to be a number of them, Dubai, London, etc., but also the Best You TV. And there's various Best You series that are coming up as well, related to people who are entrepreneurs and things of that nature. But what I really want to talk about is the fact that all of this is being live streamed for the main stage on Roku, Google Play, the Amazon Fire Stick, like anywhere that's a main place, you name it, the Best You is there. So we're really, really happy to be a part of this today. And you can too. Now, what I was going to say before he mentioned that was that we have a lot of giveaways. And Tony, I like when you say the number. How many giveaways do we have?
$100,000 can be yours simply by joining the Best You Expo. All you have to do is register to be a member of the Best You Expo, and you could win over $100,000 in prizes. But probably not going to win all of them. You'll get one or two of them.
Yeah, I don't know. Can you win more than one? I don't know. We didn't talk about
Yeah, you know what? You can win more than one. If not, if you have that kind of luck, but again, you're not going to win the whole $100,000. But if you watch these speakers, you may get $100,000 worth of value. I'll tell you that. Every year we do this. Every month we do a different place. We travel across the globe here in Zoom. I cannot tell you the value I get just by watching these speakers. Look at you.
Right. That was like traveling the globe. I have a couple globes here at my center. I can just kind of like go and do like this.
You just don't get the jet lag. It's not
Before we go to another commercial, before we go to the next speaker, I want to just say that we have prizes from like $6,000 in value down to like $7 for like an ebook or whatever. And so you can get a lot of stuff, including coaching sessions with a lot of great name people, and even a free summit with me and summit coaching on how to do that yourself. I have in there, I think it's like about $3,000 or $3,500. And then Lisa Nichols, she has her coaching program and tons more. And when we have a moment, maybe in the next hour or so, we're actually going to list off some of them so you can hear some of what's going on, because it's not just that you win one chance at $100,000 we have going on. So
yeah. Well, so a shameless plug, where can we see more for you? Where can people that are watching go see your website and what you offer?
Well, my name is Crystal Richardson. You can go to crystalrichardson.com and get the most information. But one of the main things that I'm doing right now is helping people to be great and to be heard. And that is on myglobalsummit.com.
I love how you spell your name, Cry Style.
Style.
Scream Style.
Style.
Was that on purpose from your parents, or is that something you adapted?
Dude, I don't know why people ask me that. I had a creative mother and father. I didn't change my name to this.
She is Screaming Style. I love it. It's a very unique spelling, obviously.
Yeah.
So, very cool. And I'm Tony Boldy. I've been the co-host for years of the Best You Expo. You can check me out anywhere. Google TONYBOLDI, and you're going to find me pretty much with the Best You Expo.
Excellent.
Look at that. So I don't see our guest in the green room. So I'm assuming
we have to go to another green room.
Oh, do we?
Yes, we do.
Oh, is it that time? It's that 12 o'clock hour?
It's that time.
It's lunchtime. Well, why don't we jump over? I'm going to have you jump over. I'm going to run some commercials here, and then I'm going to join you once you get that room going over there.
Okay.
All right. So we're going to jump her out really quick. And